All right, so we're here with Dave Northup of OTTO Motors. And first question, because you are a seasoned individual in our industry, you were working on AMRs before AMRs were cool and all the rage. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's the gray hair that gave that away, right? I got my start in AMRs back in the early days, about 2001 actually, and we were small company. It's a real classic story of a garage shop. It was a company called Active Media Robotics back then, turned into Mobile Robots later on, and we were really making autonomous mobile robots for research and academic purposes, because back then that's really all they could do. We were still introducing platforms that, frankly, students would use to develop AI algorithms, seeding what would now become today's AMRs. And we eventually had some success there and thought, well, we have some really cool solutions out here. We think we can find homes for these in industry. So we tried to find ways to make robots real. And we started doing things like security robots, patrol and surveillance type things, and that never really took off. But it seemed like a logical place to go. But material handling started becoming an obvious fit for AMR technologies, and that's where things started really taking off. And eventually that company got purchased by Adept, which has subsequently been purchased by Omron.
And then you went to go work for Omron, correct?
Yes.
As part of your career. Now,
yep.
Today, though, you are the product manager for OTTO?
Yeah, director of product management at OTTO.
Awesome.
That's correct.
So what are you seeing now in terms of where our industry is moving forward, in terms of what the demand is from end users, where a lot of times automation was just really in the manufacturing space. And from then, we've now seen it move heavily into the warehouse and logistics. We're at the Autonomous Mobile Robot Logistics Summit here.
Right.
Where do you see the technology moving forward and the demand of it?
Yeah, interesting. It's a good question. I think we should probably acknowledge first, those two frontiers are not solved yet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've made good inroads in both of those, but a lot of OTTO Motors' focus is still predominantly in manufacturing because there's a lot of problems to solve there still. AMRs have proven themselves to be valuable and to be a technology that these companies are adopting and see promise in, but we're still just scratching the surface of material handling. And I think what I see there is a gradual transition from more established material handling technologies like AGVs and other more traditional technologies into more AMR-focused vehicles, introducing the new ways of moving and navigating and all the benefits that we have in this new flexibility with the AMR structure. Beyond warehousing and logistics, I think that it's one of those things where it's like cliche. The sky's the limit, right? Because this technology is designed to be inherently flexible and reconfigurable, and that's what has made it appealing to these manufacturing and in the warehousing logistics markets, and those are benefits that could be cross-pollinated across many different industries. But I really like to think that we haven't solved the problems that we need to here yet. We've done a good job establishing it, but there's a lot more work to be done, and that's where my focus is trying to execute better on particularly manufacturing and ultimately warehousing logistics.
I'd love to hear a story. In manufacturing happy hour fashion, we have our conversations as if we're, let's say, having a drink at the trade show happy hour later tonight, right?
Yeah.
How do you describe a story that illustrates exactly what OTTO Motors does, as if it's in the context of, hey, this is how we helped a customer get from point A to point B?
Yeah. We are really always trying to focus on delivering value to our customers, and that value can be recognized in many different ways. But ultimately, our customers, much like many in the industry right now, are suffering from problems, labor shortages, right? Initially our focus was always on return on investment, in that, hey, well, we can save you money relative to manual labor to do some of these jobs. But now it's an opportunity cost. They're struck with, I can't even find someone to do this work, let alone what their pay rate is. We need to prevent disruptions in manufacturing. And I think that's an area where we've been able to help fill the gap for some of these customers to still have a reliable solution for material handling, despite some of the challenges they've encountered through times like COVID and some of the labor shortages that they've addressed. We're highlighting a few use cases in our booth today that are attempting to show some areas where we've added value and had good return on investment for our customers. And ultimately we've been able to do things like improve efficiency across the board and help free up people who were previously busy doing low-level material handling and allow them to focus on higher-level jobs and contributions to the process that only a human can do. Right? We're automating steps that are logical things for robots to do and allowing humans to focus in areas where they add creativity and value higher up the food chain. And ultimately, we're really proud of that, and it's giving our customers more flexibility in how they solve their material handling solutions.
So one of the things is when I've seen the OTTO robots in a lot of other different booths, a lot of other partners, a lot of 6-axis robots, and then software as well. What do you see as OTTO's view on interoperability and being able to not just work in the ecosystem of ClearPath and OTTO,
right,
but in the ecosystem that a lot of manufacturers encompass, that it's not just one solution that's going to solve all the problems. It's the collaboration of them. What are you seeing in terms of that growth?
Yeah, this is something I'm really passionate about. Having been in the industry for a long time, I've observed this for many years. And the reality is no single AMR vendor here, ourself or any of the others, have a robust and broad enough portfolio to address all the material handling needs of a given customer. So by that very fact, we have to cooperate in some way to make our customers successful. That might mean cooperating and sharing space and interoping with legacy technologies, maybe AGVs that have been in place for decades that are doing a great job. There's no reason to remove those and substitute an AMR. But, the challenge is that to an AMR, anything that is not also a similar brand AMR is an obstacle, right? It's, be it a person, be it an AGV, be it a box or a pallet, they're all seen the same. What we're encouraging and hoping to do is to have some more standardization in how these technologies communicate, such that our system can have awareness of those other entities in the manufacturing floor. So, for instance, we announced yesterday that we had worked on a project for an open source ROS to VDA 5050 connector. Mm-hmm. So VDA 5050 is one of the established, emerging standardization efforts in the industry, led predominantly by German automotive companies. But to find ways to have communication solved between dissimilar or heterogeneous mobile material handling solutions in a factory. That could be AGVs or different AMR vendors. And we've gone through the effort of trying to help develop this open source solution for this that essentially any ROS-based robot could utilize to have interoperability via the VDA 5050 standard. And this would mean that then an automotive manufacturer, for instance, if they have AGVs in their facility and they have AMRs that are using this interop standard, they could communicate. They could relay their position to one another so that we don't have to always be reactive. We can be proactive because we have an awareness of, say, a forklift that's down an aisleway that we were originally going to plan a path down, but we now know that it's there through this interoperability, and we'll plan a smarter path as opposed to just happening upon it like you would today. Yeah. And having to react. And I think that's a big effort. There's several other standardization and interoperability efforts in the industry right now. Mass Robotics is spearheading one.
Yes.
OpenRMF. We're trying to engage and be involved with any and all of them because that's what our customers are asking for, right? We're a very market-driven company. We want to respond to those needs. Ultimately, I believe that there needs to be some natural evolution of these things that coalesce on one standard, right? I mean, a standard is ultimately best when there's one. Yeah. You think of like VHS and Betamax back in the day. survival of the fittest. There's going to be one, perhaps maybe two or so that survive, but we want to make sure we're well positioned to support any or all of them that our customers need.
There was a term at one point in time. Standards are so great, so everyone makes their own.
Yeah.
We're trying.
I've never heard that before.
We're trying to move away from that.
Yeah, ideally.
and create a uniform situation.
Right. And I envision a world when these are in place where our customers are free to choose, good solutions to address their material handling needs, with the confidence that when they bring in dissimilar types or vendors, they can get them to speak to one another and ultimately increase the efficiency of their material handling solution.
Excellent. Well, I think this talk on interoperability wraps us up for this discussion. We appreciate you jumping on the show and taking some time with us.
Thank you guys.
Thanks
Appreciate
much.
it very much.
Cheers.
Bye.